Horse coming at it. Bowler over on the far side. Bowler just in front. Rockin' Horse is in for the fight. Bowler and Rockin' Horse, they hit it. Bowler.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Final Gallop. It is episode 287 and is proudly supported by the Brisbane Airport Hotels Group. This week we're going to preview our runners for the Coast Hollindale Stakes Raceday at the Sunshine Coast on Saturday. Morning, Tony. Well, with the Queensland Carnival got off to a pretty good start for us last Saturday with a treble at Eagle Farm with Typhoon Tavi, Immoral and Antino first up.
Yeah, good morning, Claire. Is that a new name for this meeting, the Coast to Coast?
I think it is.
Because they've changed the one coast to the
gone
other.
from one coast to the other coast.
Can't wait for the meeting. It's a great meeting, Hollindale Stakes Day. It used to be sort of what we'd call our inaugural start to our winter carnival, but we'll have to push it back a week now because of the Guineas and the Victory Stakes, and it was a really good day. Last Saturday for the stable, the highlight clearly is Antino, his resumption.
Absolutely.
But there were some other good runners on the day that have raced really well. Typhoon Tavi, she's been a revelation this prep, and look, a bunch of other horses just raced really well on the day, I felt. So obviously the stable trifecta in the 78 with the Moral winning for all the ladies that were there, which was good as well. But
Leopard
really good days
colours.
racing. Track still got some of its struggles. We saw that again yesterday. But I do feel it's possibly better than what it was the week before, even though it's still loose and just chopping up. So it's going to have a well-earned break now, Eagle Farm. We're not back there now till Derby Day, and the team are going to do a lot of work on that track. So I think we can look forward to seeing a better Eagle Farm surface come the big Group 1 meeting.
Okay, now before we get into our preview, we've also had some exciting news recently for our owners and staff. Starting actually today, we are expanding our operations with stables at the Gold Coast.
Yeah, so we move into the Gold Coast. We announced that last week. So something had been in the pipeline for quite a while. Had to wait for various reasons, etc., etc. And so the numbers down there will begin today. That'll expand over the coming month. So it'll be a soft opening.
Very soft.
Soft opening at the start. Your partner Shane, he will look after the Gold Coast operation with a heap of other people eventually. But we'll just start with a soft opening, and it'll allow us to get horses in. Well, we've already got horses in our systems, but allow them to be just underneath our care more directly, a little bit earlier. So I think it'll make it a more fluid stable, really. So it'll also horses will race out of the Gold Coast. I think over time we'll find horses that appreciate the difference in venues. So I'm looking forward to them. It's a lot more work, but we're all pretty excited about it. I think the facilities down there, and you were down there last night with the testing of the lights. Yeah, the lights are fantastic. Looked amazing on the grass there last night. So obviously once that grass track gets up and going, I think there's a lot to look forward to at the Gold Coast in the years ahead, and I'm really happy to have a stable there to be part of it all. So something to look forward to, and for all the clients out there, I know we have horses sometimes in waiting a little bit to come in to work with us, and it's going to make that process a lot more fluid, and our horses get into the races and racing a lot earlier.
That's right. Okay, on to the preview of our runners for the Hollindale Stakes Raceday, the Coast to Coast Raceday at the Sunshine Coast on Saturday. The rail will be in the true position. The track is currently a heavy 10 with a chance of showers each day, including race day. We're really in the hands of the gods with the weather. It could possibly get to the soft range, do you think?
No. I do not think. No, the water table is very high up there. It'll race heavy. Just how heavy is going to be the problem. We really don't want any rain on the day. No. I really hope we can get some nice clear days. But track was a heavy 8 prior to quite a good few downfalls there the other day. So they've got their struggles at the Sunshine Coast. They're like every turf track really in the southeast at the moment. They just got their struggles just due to the hot, wet summer we had. The root systems are just not healthy. So they've all got their problems. Sunshine Coast has had more rain than anywhere. We've had so much rain. So hopefully we can get the meeting. Well, hopefully the meeting can get through its entirety. We don't want rain on the day because it'll make life pretty hard for everyone involved. But let's go there on a positive spin. I think we're going to get a heavy track. I'm hopeful we can be certainly better than a 10. I think somewhere down around an 8 if we don't get any rain or minimal rain between now and when the races start and finish.
Okay. We will kick off with race 1, which is the benchmark 85 handicap over 1,200 metres. Standing order runs 57.5 kilos. Mark Zara on board. Barrier 2, he's currently paying $8 to win and $2.70 for the place. First up, and he did win first up last preparation for us over the same distance. Also won from 1 over the Sunshine Coast 1,200 and the heavy traction warrior. Yep,
track and trip winner, heavy track runner, good jockey, good barrier, ticks a lot of boxes, had a good prep with him. He'd come a long way last time in work, this horse. I think he's over the odds in a race like this. He races forward of the speed. He's going particularly well. He's improved sharply off his jump outs and trials. He's a definite top 3 chance in this race.
Okay, race 3 is the listed silk stocking for the fillies and mares over 1400 metres. A race that provided you with your first ever stakes winner in Nova Soror, back in the year 2000.
Long time ago now.
Very long time. Quarter of a century nearly. Okay, we've got three runners. 24 years later, we'll start with Princess Rainice, 56 kilos, Vlad Jurek, barrier 3. She's paying $23 to win and $6 for the place. She is first up for a winter preparation, drawn well and has handled rain affected going before and ran through the line strongly in her most recent jump out.
Yeah, the ground's no concern for her. And in fact, I think it's probably a plus for her because it'll make that 7 furlong a much tougher race.
Yeah.
What I failed to mention in race 1, you'll be getting to the crown of the track here at the Sunshine Coast. So horses, look, you'll be able to race down on the rail and running, there'll be no problem there. But then as you get into the serious end of the race, you'll be wanting to get out, 5, 6, 7 horses off fence to get out to that crown. So some horses are going to be covering ground a long way out and there's not going to be as big a disadvantage as what you may think. But it will mean you have to cover more ground in testing ground. So these horses that can get further than their distances, I think is a big plus on days like this. Now Princess Rainice fits that bill. She can get through rain-affected ground. She's going to be back in the second half of the race, particularly at 1400. She switches off, but she's really going to be coming with the big bounds. I think she took a really good step forward in the summer last year. It was good to see her win. And now we're ready for a winter. We want to try and emulate exactly what we did last winter. 1400, a few runs at a mile and out to the 2100. So this is the kick-off point, but she's certainly there to race well. Okay,
Sonora is the next one, 53 kilos. Damien Thornton will ride, drawn barrier 13. She's paying $14 to win and $4.20 for the place. She's been rising through the grades, including a win in a benchmark 78 level last start. Gets in light, but drawn a bit sticky, and there is a bit of a question mark on the wet track for her.
Good on the soft. The heavy's probably the question mark. She's a So You Think. She's just a mare, I think, that's mixed her form a bit anyway. I can't have her looking and feeling much better. I think she's come on again. She's really enjoyed that month between runs. So I've just tried to emulate exactly what happened when we got her. We got her from Kieran Maher's camp and she was in great condition. And we went 4 weeks to that nice race at Doomben where she was really good. She was wide on a hot speed and just was too good for them, basically. Like, it was a really big win. It was a win of a horse who could go to a race like this and run well. She's very fit. She's gone 4 weeks to this. Like I was saying, soft track form's brilliant. Heavy track's a bit of a question. I personally think she'll get through it. She'll race 4 to the speed. She'll race somewhere in the first, 4 or 5 runners, and she'll be strong to the line. And she's a mare that's won over a mile, 1500. So that extra distance is in our favour.
Okay. The third runner is Star of Chaos, 53 kilos. Angela Jones will ride her. She's drawn barrier 11. She is currently paying $17 to win and $4.80 for the place. She has placed her last 2 starts at Eagle Farm and both of those on soft tracks. Will be much fitter and has one on the heavy and does like this distance.
Peaked up in her prep now. She's a big mare. It takes a bit to get her fit when she comes back. I think she's spot on at the moment. What she lacks in probably class at this level, she makes up for with her racing pattern, her lightweight, and the fact she loves heavy track. She'll get through the heavy, no problem at all. She's a winner over a mile, I think, at Flemington. So I mean, she can certainly get out to a trip. So she ticks that box I was mentioning earlier as well. She's a mare that'll be. If she's not leading, she's running second. She's very much up on speed for lightweight. She'll be the one they've got to catch. I think all 3 mares are way over the odds. I don't want to put any one on top of each other. They've all got their pros and cons, to be honest. I think it's a pretty deep race.
It is.
If you don't like the favourite who's got a lot of weight, Philosophial, 60 kilos, if you want to bet away from it, there's a lot of lightweight chances in this race, and I think we represented quite a few of them.
Okay. We'll head down to race 4 now, which is the Group 3 Ken Russell Memorial Classic for the 2-year-olds over 1,200 metres, a race you have won with both Spirit of Boom and more recently Nettuno, who's actually just over there. Balastier will run this year, 57 kilos. Ryan Maloney rides barrier 2. He's currently paying $8 to win and $2.80 for the place. Was a dominant near 4-length winner first up at Ipswich, which was on a heavy track, and he's not without a chance from a good draw if he's trained on.
Absolutely, he's definitely trained on. He's not too dissimilar to them 2 previous colts that won it. Nettuno's he's gelding now, but he was a colt when he won it. This horse is not too dissimilar to him, and Spirit of Boom, to be fair, he's got a really nice, good horse's action. He's got a good horse's appetite. Everything about him, his work, he's all business. He's just got to learn to race a little bit better, a bit like Nettuno was as a 2-year-old. He can want to go a little bit fierce. He's definitely trained on. It's a very deep race. He's won on heavy ground, which is a big plus. A lot of these won't. He's got a good racing pattern. He'll race forward to the speed. He'll put himself in a position. I think the way that he ran through the line after doing a bit too much work early, the way he ran through the line at 1100 indicates 1200 is not an issue at all. He ran, I think, nearly a second quicker than the other 2-year-old that won on the day at Ipswich the other day, and that horse has come out and won again since. So I suggest he's coming to have a good form race. It's a deep race, this. There's a lot of money for the southern horses, which is pretty standard when they come up here during the carnival. But they want to be on their game. He's a good colt, this, and I can see him running very, very well.
Okay. Race 5 is the listed ATC Trophy over 1200 metres. We will have 4 runners this year. Zarastro is the first one we'll talk about, 60 kilos. Angela Jones will ride him. He's drawn barrier 10. He's currently paying $9 to win and $2.90 for the place. Tough run first up when he sat 3 wide in the Ascot handicap. Always takes improvement into a second up run, but won't want it too wet.
Yeah, he's got good soft form, but the heavy does worry me with him. He's going super. The race shapes really well for him. He'll try and dominate from up the front with his sort of bullying style racing that he does, and I think he can do that. He's going terrific, the horse, really, really good. He's come through that hard run beautifully, and the fact that I'm giving him 3 weeks into it, I think is a big plus. The problem, if there's any negative in the carnival, there's not options around these horses. They've got to go to this, or they have to go to a 10,000 next week, because it makes life pretty tricky otherwise. So he's probably got to run, but his racing patterns with him, 1200 at Sunshine Coast, no concern at all. It's just whether he can get through the ground.
Second runner is Nettuno, who, as I said, is our friend this morning. 57.5 kilos. Rally Millane will ride him at barrier 4. He's currently paying $10 to win and $3.10 for the place. Wide and well back in the Ascot handicap. First up was finishing as good as any though. 2 from 2 at the sunny coast, and has also won on a heavy track.
It was a perfect first up run for him. He's drawn low now, which is important. Millane back on, knows him well. He just lobs into a perfect position behind speed here. We know he's wins on heavy tracks fine. 1200 is fine. Sunshine Coast is fine. So very hard to beat.
Freedom Rally is the third one. 55 kilos. Vlad Jurek, barrier 1. He's paying $8.50 to win at the moment and $2.80 for the place. First up, and he does race well fresh. Nice jump out recently to bring him up to the mark. Yet to race on a heavy track, but he has raced well on soft before. Yeah,
heavy's a query with him as well. Soft, no worries at all. Low draw, going to get a really nice run in behind them and be strong to the line. He's a horse that's won over a mile in the summer. That's going to play in his advantage. Really nice horse. If I knew he'd love the heavy, he's weighted well, drawn well. You know, he's a horse a bit like an Antino last prep that can just go punch through these lower grades and get himself into a nice race. Whether the heavy track's going to be a concern for him, I don't know. But I'm very, very happy with his preparation so far.
The fourth one we'll talk about is Millane, 53 kilos. Michael D rides barrier 3. Millane is paying $5.50 to win and $2.10 for the place. Big run to win his second race this preparation. Last start over 1200 metres in a benchmark 88 grade. He's won 3 from 6 on a soft track, but untried on heavy.
I think he'll eat the heavy up. No worries at all. Very fit horse. I think he's screaming to get to 1400 now. There's a very distinct way to ride him. Just ride him quite early. He's at the 53 kilos. He's just going to sit back midfield or a touch worse, just go to sleep, and then be up to Mick D just to carve his position out and get out to the crown of the track. With a lightweight, he'll definitely become with the big bounds. You'd argue that he hasn't got the ability, or hasn't shown the ability to win a race like this when you look at the other horses' form. But he's a fit horse on the scene. He's up and going. Fit horses does help to get through these heavy tracks.
It does.
And I think he'll handle the ground. No risk at all with him in the ground. So they're a very interesting bunch here. It'll depend a lot on who can handle the track and just what the track can get back to for mine. So I'm going to sit on the fence, not going to put one ahead of the other. I think they're a very interesting lot of horses. Their racing patterns will be Zarastro here. I'd say Nettuno here, Freedom Rally there, or they're similar around each other, with Millane sitting back off them running on. I think we've got a really good handle in the race, but it will be to have a lot to do with what horses get to the right part of the track and get through the ground.
Race 9 is the Bat Out of Hell over the 1,000 metres. We have 4 runners in this as well. All that pizzazz. We'll start with 60 kilos. Mark Zara, barrier 10. He's currently paying $4.80 to win and $2 for the place. Big run to almost win the Ascot handicap first up. Gets the top weight here and did win on a heavy track as a 2-year-old.
Yeah, I get to have a bit of a break, don't I, from the ADC Cup through to the Bat Out of Hell. I can have a bit of lunch, watch a few races, and hopefully we're not coming to this last race, which is bloody competitive.
It is.
Without a winner on the board already, because it's a tough race. So all that pizzazz, we scratched him out of the ATC Cup to run him in the Bat Out of Hell.
Yeah.
Brilliant first up. Just probably peaked later, he wins the race. Just the extra ground he had to cover compared to the Big Goodbye who went through the middle. He's come on nicely, he's worked well, he looks really well. He's got the 60 kilos. We went this way because it's half a kilo more in this to what he had in the ATC Cup. I think he's a real 6 furlong horse is probably where he's at. I'm not sure he gets further. So I think at the 1,000 on heavy ground late in the day, they'll be covering ground. It'll be more like 11 to 1200 metre race as it is. He handles heavy. He's the best horse in the race. It's just a matter of with the 60, can he beat him? But the short races, I don't see it as that big a detriment.
Yeah.
I think he maps beautifully. They'll go really quick. Zara on board. He'll ride him perfectly.
Yeah.
He's a big chance to close out the day for us.
Okay, next one is F Troop, 55.5 kilos, Vlad Jurek. Barrier 15, he's paying $34 to win and $9 for the place. First up on Saturday and did run first up at this track and trip last preparation in the Swiss Ace. Looked good in a recent jump out, and blinkers have replaced winkers from last preparation.
Yeah, his last 2 preps he's actually kicked off at the Sunshine Coast. I think he ran second in the ATC Cup or third last year at this meeting over the 1200. And in the summer obviously in the Swiss Ace, and he ran really well there. So I think it's a good starting point for him.
Yeah.
Blinkers go back on, we're just riding back quiet. He's a 1,200 metre horse, suits him.
Yeah.
I think you're riding back off the speed in a race like this and watching him just rattle down the outside. Whether he can win or not, but he can run well, and that can shape our winter. Okay.
Situation Room, 55.5 kilos, Angela Jones rides Barrier 4. He's paying $23 to win and $6 for the place. Usually pretty reliable first up performance from him. He's been close without winning at this track and trip. Looked great in his recent jump outs and has a pretty good record on wet tracks.
Yeah, he does. He can handle the wet beautifully. He's got a good racing pattern for this. He's not a one-trick pony. He's not lead at all costs. A few of these are. So they'll go along at a good gallop. He'll just get there somewhere within that gallop. Ange will put him in the right position. He's weighted well. He gets in at a nice weight, and he can win at 1200, so he'll be tough at 1,000. Hasn't been his favourite track. He hasn't won here, I don't think, but he's raced well here. So, look, he can run really well, and yet again, a bit like F Troop, he's going to be thereabouts, and it really shapes where we go with him throughout the carnival.
Okay. Hidden Wealth is the 4th runner, 52 kilos. Samantha Collett will ride him, Barrier 17. He's paying $10 to win at the moment and $3.30 for the place. He was pretty impressive winner last start over the 1,000 metres at Eagle Farm. Good record on soft tracks, but he has drawn the car park.
He's drawn wide. Whether that's going to be as big a deal, see with the amount of speed here, he's a pretty versatile horse really, because he can win from midfield or off midfield and running on. He can also be up on speed. He's got the nice lightweight. I think 1,000 on this sort of ground, I think he'll get through it. Okay. I think he's a real X factor in the race. Yeah. Form out of his last run is really good with Tiger Shark coming out and winning the following week. He jumped into a really nice forward position that day and he just won dominantly. Yeah. Here, we can afford just to step well and just watch the race unfold, drop in, get into a 3-wide line with a bit of cover. With a lightweight, he'll really hit the line. He's a knockout chance in the race. Okay. With the big weight difference between him and all that pizzazz, he can run really well, this horse, but like all that pizzazz will go on top for me. I just love him. He just, every time I take him to the race, he just puts in and does his best, and I think Zara will give him a beautiful steer off that draw. Okay. We are into the final furlong of this week's Final Gallop. Who is the best winning chance at the Sunshine Coast on Saturday for you? I think we've got a lot of good chances in the meeting. Some of them will be dependent on just on the ground, but I'm going to stick with all that pizzazz in the last. I think he's a little ripper. I know 60 kilos is a bit of a steadier for a small horse, but he's carried weight before. I think he's a ripper of a horse, and he won't let me down. Okay, your best each way chance? Got a lot of them. I could even say standing order in the first. Sonora, I think she'll handle it each way, but I think I'll stick with Nettuno. Okay. I think he's each way. He can handle the heavy ground. He's going to get a lovely run with Maloney on board. I can't see how he doesn't run top 3 in the ATC Cup. He's listening to you. Could be my best chance, mate, actually. Either one of you two boys here. And your best at the Provincials? Just Gatton on Friday this week. Yeah, we're pretty low on provincial runners. We don't seem to get a lot of grass tracks, so making life tough out there racing Queensland. It is. I'm going to go to Gatton. Love my 2-year-old that's in there. Yeah. Just hate the barrier. I think she's way above average. I think she would have won at Eagle Farm yesterday if she wasn't balloted out or I didn't get a run because she was 7th emergency as the first starter. Pretty disgusting again racing Queensland. I think she's a really nice filly. But I think I might even go with Little Spruce from Barrier 1. Going really, really well. Come back a much better horse. Think she's very hard to beat in the maiden.
Okay, your best track worker this week?
Best track worker this week. Went to Doomben for most of our gallops. Zarastro and Nettuno worked here at Eagle Farm. They were bloody good. I thought over at Doomben on Tuesday, and I didn't mention Balastier as an each-way chance as well. He's a great each-way chance, $10. I thought that was a really nice piece of work. He worked with all that pizzazz. They ticked over beautifully at Doomben nice on the course proper. So I think that was probably the pick of mine.
Okay. And your performance from the stable for the week?
Antino. Yeah, he's just a beauty, isn't he? He just gets himself in a predicament at times, that horse, and he just seems to be able to get himself out of it. I think he's unbeaten now in Queensland. He's never been beat here on home soil. So got a big mission ahead of him with the Kingsford Smith, which is going to be a hell of a race in 4 weeks from last weekend. They'll certainly test his record, but being a nice parochial Queenslander as I am, looking forward to the challenge, and I think so is Antino.
I think he is too. Okay, now it is time for Cav's Corner, which is supported by the Brisbane Airport Hotels Group. He landed the first leg of his 2-leg multi last week with Warby placing, but unfortunately Comrade Rosa just missed a place to bring it home for him. Let's see what he's got for us this week.
Welcome to Cav's Corner for this week. Last week, just a touch unlucky. This week, we're going to venture to the sunny coast. We're going to go Princess Rainess a place, into Hidden Wealth a place. Just a little cheerio out to Maddie Mad Dog Barton on her favourite horse, Porky, winning yesterday. She was the loudest person at Eagle Farm Racecourse. And also to Josh Fleming. I have no trouble doing the buttons up on my shirt, and that comment you made after I'm about to explode, saying the buttons on my shirt, is false, son. I'm trim, taut and terrific. Good punting, guys.
So he's gone Princess Rainey's a place into Hidden Wealth a place. That seems fairly reasonable.
Big odds, I like it. He was very unlucky last week. I think if Maloney had have stayed in instead of coming right out on the corner on Comrade Rosa, he definitely runs a place.
Yes.
So I think only, and Ryan, you can cop this on the chin, there was pilot error why she didn't run top 3, because you should have went through the middle of them. And I think he would have run she would have run top 3 and he would have got his multi. So he's going to need a couple of good steers here because they both got tricky. Like, she's going to get back second half of the field, and I think Hidden Wealth will be midfield to second half as well off that wide draw. So both horses I think are going to get through the ground, both going to be strong, nice and fit and strong at the end of the trips. It'll just be a matter of getting through them.
Absolutely it will. Okay, well, good luck and hopefully a drying Sunshine Coast track on Saturday, and also wishing all the mums out there a very happy Mother's Day on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope the track does improve and the weather gods can be kind to us. And to all the mums out there, we wish you all a happy Mother's Day. You're all out there doing your best for all of us when we were kids. And obviously my kids as well are going to spoil their mums. So happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there. You are integral to us all, that is for sure. Yeah, well, and I hope my dog buys me a nice bottle of champagne or something, because I'm a dog mum. But anyway, best of luck to everyone on the weekend.